What is one profession that you have absolutely zero respect for? Predatory tow companies. In Toronto, it was basically organized crime. There were full-on turf wars between companies where they were setting each other's trucks on fire. It was chaos. The government finally stepped in and did something about it, but I'm sure it's still going on to some degree. I'm not sure what to call them, but the people at the top of the MLM pyramids. Personally, I use the word scum. I've been calling them pond scum for years. Payday loan sharks. I acknowledge there is a need for short-term, high-risk lending. It's the predatory practices that force people into a debt trap that I have an issue with. A while back, I was in need of some extra money, so I looked into a few loan options. I make enough that I don't have to use them, but it would have made things a bit easier. One place in particular caught my attention. They offered a loan of $1,000 and the interest would have come to around $250 for the loan. I only needed $500, so I thought I could use the other half to get new tires for my car, something I've been needing to do for a while, so I went to sign up. However, upon further examination, I realized that the process was not as straightforward as I thought. The company explained that they would advance me $200 and I would have to make payments to pay off the full $1,000 they lent me. Once I paid it off, then they would give me the other $800. In reality, I would not be paying 25% interest on a $1,000 loan. I would be paying 125% interest on a $200 loan and a forced savings account. My ex-wife, against my insistence that she not, got a title loan on her car for $1,800. She paid $300 every month for 6 months and still owed $1,800. I asked to see the paperwork and it was a 205% 30-day loan. She had to pay the whole thing back in 30 days or she racked up late fees and penalties. When they finally hooked the car months later, the balance was over $6,000. They sent a letter that they had sold the vehicle at auction for $3,000 and that they would drop it and she'd never hear from them again and it wouldn't go on her credit provided she did not come after them for a return of the vehicle. Call center scammers. People really have full-time 9-to-5 jobs dialing random phone numbers to steal money. Does anybody actually answer phone calls anymore? It's all spam. If I don't know the number, they are welcome to leave a voicemail. It's my policy. Online event ticket buyers. People who try to predict the demand for an event, concert, sports, etc., and bulk buy tickets to resell at higher prices. There's a whole industry with companies built entirely with employees who are bidding and selling full-time. This is known as creating artificial scarcity. It doesn't provide any real value to the economy. Disney had to buy back tickets to Frozen. Speculators bought them and couldn't unload them because demand wasn't high enough. But then people who wanted them from the box office couldn't buy them at the cheaper box office prices, so those seats were just going empty and no word of mouth was spreading. So Disney had to buy back its tickets from speculators so that they could put them back on sale to the public. Those recruitment people from fake talent agencies. They do these whole presentations, often in person, to get new actors and models to sign up at the end with an initiation fee, sometimes in the thousands. A lot of the people being scammed don't know the company is a scam until afterward when they look them up on Yelp or the BBB. The recruiter usually seems legit. I don't know how they sleep at night, knowing that's how they make the entirety of their income. My old roommate did this for a short while. They would go to a mall as a talent agency and film a short video of people for free, then call them and say they really want to represent them, only they need to take XYZ course to get jobs. They weren't a talent agency, they were just selling these useless courses to gullible teens. Nobody ever got a job through them. He quit after a month because he couldn't handle the guilt. Bro, I could barely handle working at Wells Fargo call center back in 2012. They hounded you to try selling anything and everything to every person you talked to. The customer had $3.27 in their account and has overdrawn 15 times in the last 2 months. Better try getting them to sign up for another checking account, which usually had monthly fees, and also get them to apply for a credit card for overdraft protection. Supervisors didn't care. You were expected to pitch something to every customer you talked to. I hated myself every minute I worked there. I can imagine what your buddy felt like because that sounds just as bad. Poachers. I get major schadenfreude when I see an article about a lion killing a poacher. Good kitty. In some places, rangers have taken to just shooting poachers on sight, and it's been quite effective. I can't say I feel any sympathy for the twats getting lit up by rangers. To sum up all the answers, con artists. It's a little disappointing because all these answers feel like, well, no crap. It's more interesting to hear professions some people respect or don't think about much either way. My answer is day traders. Stock trading as a concept provides capital investment that allows a company to grow, but so much of day trading isn't about investment or whatever. It's about predicting trends in order to be the middleman for a few seconds to immediately resell. They provide neither a good nor a service to contribute to the economy. They just extract wealth from the system. They are parasites. I struggle with the advertising and marketing industries. Like in theory, it's fine, and of course you want to advertise your product. Everything has just gotten over the top and manipulative. I don't know if this is a profession in the normal sense of the word, but child beauty pageant organizers, judges, and anyone else who profits from this grotesque practice. It's a felony in France to even plan one. Paparazzi. How is stalking legal for them? It is a snazzy name, though. The etymology of the name is quite interesting. Televangelist priests who have hundreds of millions don't pay taxes and tell people they don't love God if they don't keep donating. Preach. Have a TV church, but don't scam people out of millions a month. There was one guy, Jesse Duplantis, who told his followers that God wanted him to have a new jet, and they needed to give him $54 million to buy it because his current jet was outdated. Kenneth Copeland defended his jet, saying that he couldn't be expected to get on a crappy plane full of dopeheads and demons. Excuse me, do you mean the people who you're supposed to serve who send you money? Kenneth Copeland looks like a demon wearing human skin, but the skin is getting old and can no longer hide his true form. I don't know, but I hate looking at him. I get a sense of evil and malice emanating from him. It's the dead look in his eyes, like a creature that's learned to imitate a smile. Unethical animal breeders, e.g. puppy farmers. Animals are literally bred to suffer and live horrendous lives because of them. Mothers are forced to breed at unsustainable rates and are often left malnourished and gravely ill. Their puppies develop serious illnesses very early in life, and many of them die within weeks of their adoption. It benefits nobody but the cruel, irresponsible breeders. Always check the background of your breeder before buying your new pet. Don't buy puppies on Gumtree. My wife and I adopted a female dachshund for $50 that had obviously been used for breeding. Although we didn't know this at the time, none of the pictures showed how malnourished and overbred she was. Turned out she was pregnant, and then we had one single puppy a few months later. The mom is living out her senior days happily basking in the sun. We estimate she's about 14 to 15 in age. We also still have the puppy as well. Glad we were able to get her and give her a better life. Alternative healers that talk people out of seeking real medical treatment. Also see chiropractors, as mentioned above. My in-laws spent a lot of money because one chiropractor told them he could cure my sister-in-law's type 1 diabetes when she was a child. She ended up in the emergency room, and they had spent thousands of dollars. Another chiropractor told a neighbor that her cancer would be cured by doing cleanses, having chiropractic adjustments, and taking certain supplements. Unfortunately, she passed away within 6 months, even though she had been diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. This is a cautionary tale of how people can be taken advantage of in their time of need. Chiropractors are dangerous. They hold themselves out as doctors, but once again, lack the training of a true physician. Also, neck and back manipulations are insanely dangerous and can cause spinal cord injuries. I'll die on this hill and gladly accept the downvotes. Some local influencer took a video of me walking my dog yesterday by the beach and posted it on her Instagram. I looked through the hundreds of comments last night when someone sent me the thing. Many of the comments are vulgar. I think it's a bad move to film someone without their consent or clout. You can get Instagram to actually remove it because if they aren't removing hateful comments and the post itself encourages harassment, then it's against their community guidelines. Call center scammers and RMT/boosting companies for gaming. Timeshare salespeople. I remember lying to one of them, saying that I actually applied for bankruptcy and lived with my parents, and they were like, well, if you go on 2 vacations a year, it'll be more than what this costs, so it'll be saving you money to get out of the hole. Well, if you buy 2, you can sell 1, and then it's like you are vacationing for free. Health insurance agents that deny health insurance for costs reasons. They shouldn't even exist. If I pay for insurance and my doctor asks for a procedure, it's the job of the insurance to pay. End of story. This happened to my husband. Was denied a prosthetic leg multiple times because it wasn't necessary for daily life. Insurance repeatedly denied prior authorization for an MRI for my thoracic spine that my neurologist ordered because he suspected I had MS. Their rationale was that MS doesn't affect the thoracic spine. That's interesting, because when I got the MRI in the ER at my neuro's suggestion, because insurance couldn't deny coverage that way, I had an active MS lesion in my thoracic spine. I don't know how these people sleep at night when their rationale is demonstrably false. People that create artificial scarcity. De Beers is a good case study in this, with diamonds. They created serious market demand through wildly successful advertising and control much of the world's diamond industry. I want to make a company that mines and manufactures diamonds for like 20% return, stealing all of their business, then getting assassinated by De Beers snipers outside of my mansion. Knew a guy who worked for a company that sold social media bots and other means of boosting accounts. Whatever job that is, I hate it. There was a big issue with this recently involving one of the Bravo channel's Real Housewives. Someone used a bot company to spam the IG account of a cast member's son with racist threats the day before his first day of high school. Scalping tickets, electronics, food, toilet paper, or whatever else. With cars, they're called dealers. With housing, they're called landlords. Religious leaders who take advantage of their followers. I was just flipping through channels and BET was showing an advert for some preacher selling water that cured people's financial troubles, etc. I can't see how they would sell program time to someone that would hurt their own audience. I've seen these types of promos and other stations also, so I'm not trying to beat up on BET, but that was just sad. I was watching one on a preacher in, I think, Ethiopia. He was ultra rich, selling miracle water to his sick and starving audience. The guy making the documentary said it definitely was made from gasoline. Network marketers, MLM, are the worst. People who code malware. 100% agree. Super smart people, except they program to steal passwords and bank account info. Gossip show hosts. Not sure if it counts as a gossip show, but TMZ is the absolute worst. A while ago, I was flipping through cable channels and came across this program. Someone was chasing Bruce Willis through an airport, asking him insulting questions. He was just trying to get his luggage and get out. The scene switches to an office. A bunch of people holding oversized cups, standing around giggling and making cracks at how ugly his hat is. Baffling. People who run puppy farms. They're all idiots. And the pet shops that sell the puppies. I worked at a mall for a year during the start of the pandemic. The music plays 24/7 in the mall, so there's never a moment of silence. The cages they're kept in, 1 to 4 puppies at a time in one, are maybe 2 by 2 feet, if that, and they never leave it until they're bought for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at the mall. People buy these puppies because they think that they're saving them from these conditions, but they're just throwing money at the people who ensure it keeps happening. For 2 or 3 weeks before the mall reopened to the public, the puppies were brought back into those little cubes for appointment-only viewing. The mall wasn't even open, and they shoved them back in there. Influencer. The whole concept is a scourge, quite frankly. Well, it depends. I think the ones who are just good-looking and then peddle stuff that they use and tell people they can be pretty, too, are bullcrap. Yeah, but people who are experts or have input from the masses in certain industries are cool. It's cool that people who are knowledgeable about stuff can share their knowledge and get paid for it. In my opinion, there is a difference between an influencer and an expert in a specific field sharing his knowledge through a guide or something along those lines. Self-help gurus. Just people that start cults. Life coach. Not really a specific profession, but people in higher political power who would rather hire family members and close friends with no experience or qualifications than over actual people who are qualified and have experience. That is why nothing gets done in my small community. This is called nepotism, and I agree with you. Absolutely no way to get anything done. Supreme executive powers derive from a mandate of the masses, not some farcical, familial ceremony. Medical debt collectors. This is an entire industry dedicated to collecting debt from people who owe money for medical bills. People whose job is to hound those who got sick and injured and couldn't pay for it. Imagine this. Imagine being the person who repeatedly calls a single mom whose kid needed an ambulance ride, threatens to file suit, get a judgment and garnish her wages. Burn in hell, medical debt collectors. I had a boss who got a degree in medical management and took the first admin job he could get out of college so that he could quit being a McDonald's manager. He unfortunately got into medical billing. He said it's not quite debt collection because those companies usually buy the debt from the hospital, which I think adds a layer to the crappiness. He said he had the job for a few months when he had to call a grieving family who had just lost their kid to cancer to ask how they were going to pay their bill. He quit shortly after to go back into food management. Politicians, lobbyists, influencers, still not exactly sure what they are or do. My mom met a lady once who said her job was managing her inheritance, so also that woman. Controversial opinion. Police in the US. Several reasons why. I will never trust a profession that is legally allowed to lie to your face in order to do their job. Doctors, attorneys, accountants, etc. don't get to lie intentionally in the conduct of their profession. Police are allowed to make mistakes. The mistakes they make often do have life-altering consequences for the person who is a victim of their errors. When police make mistakes, they have little to no consequences. There is almost no accountability for misconduct in their profession. Court decisions have determined and confirmed that police have zero duty to protect the public that they are supposedly serving. They can literally stand by and watch a person with a weapon enter an elementary school and shoot children and have no responsibility to defend the public. So if they aren't there to protect the public, why are they even there? A person can literally be too intelligent to be a police officer. Police departments can legally not hire a candidate for the sole basis of being too intelligent. Is there any other profession that says, "You're too smart to do this job. We would rather have dumber people"? Lastly, I will never trust a person who has that much power over me. If a police officer even suspects that I may be carrying a weapon, they can kill me. If they falsify information, I can be arrested. Best case scenario, I am forced to spend money to keep my ass out of jail. So, in conclusion, I have no respect for the police. They have no duty to protect the public. They can lie to people while doing their job. They can make a grossly negligent mistake and likely suffer zero consequences. Came here expecting this to be the first result. Towing companies. It's a service that is necessary, but their practices are predatory and unethical. They prey upon people who've just been in car accidents and rack up thousands from people down on their luck. Do you mean people who steal your car and then ransom it back to you? Anyone in health insurance that denies patients access to seek care or receive treatment. How can you tell a doctor, no, this person does not need life-saving medication/tests? I don't see how this isn't considered practicing medicine without a license. I'm a nurse, and I hate it when the doctor sees a patient, writes a prescription, and when I send it to the pharmacy, I get a call saying that insurance won't pay for that medication. Or, are they sure they want to use that medicine? It costs $2,000 for 15-day supply with insurance. I then have to call the doctor and say, I know that you think Miss X needs this medication, but their insurance says no. Can you please think of something else to give her? Or call the patient and say, I know Dr. X explained that you need this medication, but the insurance won't pay for it. I mean, how does the insurance company know better than the doctor who actually examined the patient and went to medical school? Televangelist. Pushy salespeople. Yes, went to a mattress store to test out some beds for when I was moving. I was upfront about this, and the salesperson got so angry when I decided not to buy anything until after I moved. All he had to do was give me a card, write down the models I liked, and tell me to call him when I was ready. But instead, he got loud and angry, and I ended up finding a mattress online. Anyone in the elder care business. I'm not talking about nurses or doctors. I mean the people who run the places. My dad had just been put in one. The amount they charge just to be there is outrageous. Are they spending it on quality food, equipment, and medication, or to actually pay their staff to give a damn? No, they aren't. They want you to have $250,000 in the bank just to get in and about $8 to $10 grand a month to stay? How is this legal? No appreciation for anyone that takes advantage of anyone in that respect. Social media influencers. Seems like the goal is to influence people into being narcissists and followers, especially the ones who exploit their children. I don't know if it counts as a profession, but I have less than zero respect for scalpers. Televangelists. It's a scam. Specifically Nancy Brinker, the founder of Susan G. Komen, who cut funding for Planned Parenthood but gave herself a 64% raise 10 years ago. Chiropractors. They're not medical professionals, they're scam artists. Get yourself an athletic or physical therapist instead. Shark fin harvesters. Mega church preachers. People who design algorithms that have the sole purpose of at least one of the following: 1. Spreading misinformation. 2. Seeing the other side as evil/divide and conquer. 3. Selling any type of essential snake oil or products that make bullcrap marketing claims, i.e. take the pill and you'll lose 20 pounds. 4. Promoting any form of MLM. Hospital administration, but I have to have respect or I'll lose my job. Lobbyists. The charlatans who sell fake remedies and homeopathy consultations and such. I don't know if it's an actual profession, but manufacturers and dealers of heroin and fentanyl. So many would survive if this just wasn't a thing. You can be a professional criminal. I recall seeing a resume posted by a guy who'd done time for trafficking weed, and he was now looking for work in sales or logistics. The resume was very upfront about the illegal nature of what he'd done, but also said that he'd run a business with over 100 employees with $100 million in annual revenue, and that he was very familiar with all the aspects of selling a high-value, high-demand product, shipping, trucking, warehousing, etc. Pretty interesting. Content farms like Hype House. Total cringe. Plastic surgeons who fix deformities, improve self-esteem, and prevent further bullying. Wonderful. Plastic surgeons who feed people's mental illness and help them look more like Kim Kardashian, their dog/cat, or a Barbie doll. Zero respect. Medical insurance company executives. Anyone who runs an MLM. People who run homeowners associations. People who run HMOs, health maintenance organizations, for those of you outside the USA. They're a problem in the American healthcare system. They make their fortune off the pain, suffering, and death of others, and it's not fair. Anyone who runs or used to run an HMO or PPO should be held accountable for their actions. Cops. Unethical puppy farmers are some of the worst scum on earth. Realtors. My mom's body wasn't even cold, and one of them walked up to the door asking if I needed help selling the house. Any profession that has to do with the child pageantry racket. Also, prosperity gospel scammer pastors and churches. Influencers like Andrew Tate. Ticket resellers. They take away the chances of people to see their favorite artist. Full-on career politicians. There are exceptions, of course, but when the mask slips and they turn out to be ruthless, power-hungry, venal, and selfish, their ability to obfuscate and prevaricate in the face of questioning is seen by them as a positive skill. Their principles are sold to the highest bidder whilst chasing votes with knowingly false promises. Integrity and piety aren't as important as the ability to appear such. True inheritors of the Machiavellian philosophies. Once identified, I lose respect at all for them, and it's getting easier and easier to mark them thusly, whereas in decades gone by, they at least tried to hide by actually doing things that were in the best interests of the country instead of themselves or their party. Psychics, with disdainful disrespect for the mediums who prey on grieving families. Realtors. And I have my license. I've just run up against so many unsavory, unethical ones dressed up in Crest white strips and hair gel. Journalism, since they decided to ditch honesty. Here's the thing. Honest journalism is one of the most important roles in a functioning democracy. An informed population is vital. News agencies dedicated to pure propaganda are the opposite. They twist reality to the point it destroys the social fabric of a country. So when you come across good journalism, go out of your way to support it. Haven't seen it yet, but corporate lobbyists. Mormon scripture history professors at BYU. Whatever you're called when you get into the private prison industry. Hedge funders, specifically short predatory ones. Union busters. Landlords and people who live from speculating with basic consumer goods/needs prizes, but especially landlords. Politicians. Shouldn't be a profession or lifetime position. PS5 scalpers. People who profit off of conspiracy theories, e.g. writing books claiming the moon landing was faked, 9/11 being an inside job/Holocaust denial. MLM consultants, if that's to be considered a profession. Tabloid journalists, payday loan lenders. Financial planners can be a mixed bag, with some being decent and others being predatory. Many of them are failed car salesmen and the like who are just the face of some algorithm that allocates you based on age and risk allocation. When your account goes up, they take credit for it, but when it goes down, they blame the market and suggest that you keep your money with them because it's a long-term strategy. As an estate planning attorney who has worked closely with financial planners, I've met many predatory ones. The good ones are the ones who actually listen to and get to know their clients, take their true considerations into account, and recommend strategies based on those considerations and needs instead of what is most profitable for them. The fact that a subset of the industry proudly advertises themselves as fee-only to show that they will work without consideration of commissions shows that they have to tie their own hands or they are likely to screw you for their benefit. I am so jaded that I do not fully believe that fee-only advisors don't get some back-end trials being paid to them depending on the funds they put you in. The health insurance industry. Influencers, although it is a stretch to call that a job. Monarchy. Abolish it. The entire funeral business. They take advantage of people who are grieving. My grandpa passed away and my grandma wanted to get a headstone that had both their names, so when the time comes, they will be next to each other. Their cheapest one was $3,500, and my grandma will be making payments until the day she dies. Property management companies. Every single person I've ever met in that profession is a snake. Zero sympathy about putting people out on the streets because there will always be tenants. And I wish that wasn't a direct quote. Landlords. Not even a profession. I'm paying a mortgage on an apartment every month and I don't even get to own it. Scalpers. Literally worthless. Missionaries. I haven't seen anyone bring this up, but several people have mentioned televangelists and preachers. Televangelists are preaching to the willing. People choose to listen to them and give them money. Missionaries, on the other hand, travel to places where they weren't invited to tell people that the gods that their parents raised them to believe in are wrong, but that the gods that the missionaries' parents believed in are right. Similarly, other people are mentioning puppy farms and scalpers and MLMs and reality stars and paparazzi. None of these things would exist if there wasn't a market for them. Missionaries are the only ones that there isn't a market for. Nobody is asking them to come preach their religion. They just want to shove their beliefs down other people's throats. Thanks for watching until the end. If you have an example you'd like to give, please do so in the comment below. Then be sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you know when our next video is available. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.